everyone, welcome to another session on business research methods. Today we are going to discuss about experimental research design and I'm your instructor Smitha Anthony M. Experimental method is most scientifically sophisticated research method. It is defined as observations under controlled conditions. Experimental research involves a direct assessment of how one variable influences another. This allows establishment of causality, and all extraneous variables must be held constant while a single variable is manipulated and the effect is measured. Experimental design are concerned with examination of the effect of an independent variable on dependent variable where the independent variable is manipulated through treatment or interventions. In experimental design, the researcher is an active agent rather than a passive observer. Experimental design is a powerful design for testing hypotheses of causal relationship among variables. Experimental research design is further classified as true experimental design, quasi-experimental design and pre-experimental design. In this session, we are going to talk more about a true experimental design. A true experimental research design are those where the researcher have a complete control over the extraneous variable and can predict confidently that the observed effect on the dependent variable is only due to the manipulation of independent variable. A true experimental design consists of three cardinal features or characteristics. That means a true experimental research design must essentially consist of the following characteristics like manipulation, control and randomization. First we will see what is manipulation. A manipulation refers to a conscious control of independent variable by the researcher through the treatment or interventions to observe its effect on dependent variable. And the next one is control. Control is another essential element of true experimental design. Control refers to the use of control group and controlling the effect of extraneous variable on a dependent variable in which the researcher is interested. The subject in the control and experimental group are similar in number and characteristics, but the subject in the control group receive no experimental treatment or receive no treatment or any kind of interventions at all. The control of effect of extraneous variable on the dependent variable can be ensured by adopting a number of methods like matching, counterbalancing, homogeneity by statistical test. Next characteristics of a true experimental design is randomization. Randomization means that every subject has an equal chance of being assigned to the experimental or the study subject on a random basis. Through the random assignment of a subject under experimental or control group, chances of systematic bias can be eliminated. And randomization can be used in true experimental research design to minimize the threat of internal validity of the study to eliminate the effect of extraneous variable on dependent variable. Next is the placebo effect in experiment. In psychology experiment, a placebo is an etert treatment or a substance that has no known effect. The researcher might utilize the placebo control group, which is a group of participants who are supposed to do the placebo or a fake independent variable. A placebo effect means when a participant improve just because they believe that they are receiving a treatment. Let's consider an example. Sarah collected a random sample of 600 individuals who have completed a baseline assessment and were found to have a high level of anxiety. She divides them into three groups. Suppose the first group is a control group which will receive a sugar pill each day as a placebo. We know a placebo is a substance that has no therapeutic effect used as a control in testing a new drug. A placebo is a substance that looks like a medication or some other treatment but has no therapeutic effect. The sugar pill look like a drug X so that the control group will think that they are being treated. This helps control for the placebo effect, which is when participants improve just because they believe that they are receiving a treatment. If the anxiety level of the individual in the control group improve just as much or more than the anxiety level, the experimental groups, we can say that there is a placebo effect and the reduction in anxiety is not caused by drug X. Next is type of true experimental design. The types of true experimental designs are post-test only, pre-test, post-test only, Solomon foregroup, factorial design, randomized block design, and crossover design. The first type is post-test only control design. It is composed of two randomly assigned group, that is experimental group and control group, but neither of which is pre-tested before the implementation of treatment on the experimental group. In addition, while the treatment is implemented on the experimental group only and post-test observation is carried on both the group to assess the effect of manipulation. This design is helpful or can be helpful in situations where it is not possible to pre-test the subjects. In this example, we can see that 100 randomly selected teachers is taken into study and 50 teachers is assigned to experimental group and 50 teachers to control group. Here only the experimental group is given with a treatment, that is stands for peace training workshop, and the control group is not provided with any kind of treatment. That means while treatment is implemented on experimental group only and the post-test observation is carried out on both the group to assess the effect of manipulation. Next is pre-test, post-test only design. In this research design, subjects are randomly assigned to either an experimental group or the control group. The effect of the dependent variable on both the groups is seen before the treatment, that is known as a pre-test. The effect of dependent variable on both the group is seen before the treatment, that we have already said that it is known as a pre-test. That is the significance of this test, and later the treatment is carried out on the experimental group only, and after the treatment observation of dependent variable is made on both the group to examine the effect of manipulation of independent variable on dependent variable. We can say an example like it is useful for an experimental study to assess the effectiveness of a cognitive behavioral therapy interventions for patients with breast cancer. Here is the same example that I have given in the first type. Here also you have assigned 50 teachers to experimental group and 50 teachers to a control group, but in this both the group are given with a pre-test. But later the treatment is carried out on experimental group only, and after the treatment observation of dependent variable is made on both the group to examine the effect of manipulation of independent variable on dependent variable, that is given in the post-test. Next type is Solomon four-group design. In Solomon four-group design, there are two experimental group and two control group. Initially, the researcher randomly assigns subject to the four groups. Here we can see that experimental group 1, experimental group 2, control group 1 and control group 2. So initially the investigator randomly assigns subject to the four groups. Out of this four group, only experimental group 1 and control group 1 receives the pre-test, followed by the treatment to the experimental group 1 and experimental group 2. Finally, all the four groups receives post-test where the effect of dependent variable of the study are observed and a comparison is made of the four group to assess the effect of independent variable, that is experimental treatment on dependent variable. The Solomon four-group design is considered to be the most prestigious experimental research design because it minimizes the threat to internal and external validity. That means it simply minimize the threat to internal and external validity, and the test efficiently present the reactive effect to the pretest. Any difference between the experimental and control group can be more confidently attributed to the experimental treatment. And the main disadvantages of this design is that it requires a larger sample, a large sample and a statistical analysis, and therefore not commonly used in healthcare research. In this example, we can see that out of the 4 groups, only experimental and control group, that is experimental group 1 and control group 2, receives the pretest, followed by the treatment to the experimental group 1 and experimental group 2. Finally, all the 4 groups receives the post test. Next is factorial design. In factorial design, the researcher manipulate 2 or more independent variables simultaneously to observe the effect on the dependent variable. This design is useful when there are more than 2 independent variables called factors to be tested. This design also facilitates the testing of several hypotheses at a single time, and this typical factorial design incorporates 2 into 2 or 2 into 3 factorial, but it can be in any kind of combination. The first number, that is alpha, refers to the independent variable or the type of experimental treatment, and the second number beta refers to a level of frequency in the treatment. Here in this example, we can see that a researcher wants to observe the effect of 2 different protocols of mouth care on prevention of VAP, that is ventilator associated pneumonia, when performed at different frequencies a day, like 4 hours, 6 hours and 8 hours, and observe its effect on dependent variable, that is the different protocols of mouth care, that is chlorhexidine, that is alpha 1, and the saline, that is alpha 2. Next is randomized block design. The control of inherent differences between the experimental subjects and differences in experimental condition is one of the different problems faced by the researcher in biological sciences. When there are a large number of experimental comparison group, the randomized block design is used to bring the homogeneity among the selected different group, that we have selected. When there are a large number of experimental comparison group, the randomized block design is used to bring homogeneity among the selected group. The simple method to reduce the validity among the treatment group by more homogeneous combination of the subject through randomized block design. If the researcher want to test the efficacy of 3 different medications in reducing hypertension to ensure homogeneity among the subject under treatment, the researcher randomly places the subject in homogeneous group, that is blocks. In this example, the researcher wants to examine the effect of 3 different antihypertensive drugs on patients with hypertension, and to ensure the homogeneity among the subject under treatment, the researcher randomly places the subject in homogeneous group, that is blocks, like patients with primary hypertension and patients with diabetic patients with hypertension and renal patients with hypertension. Next is crossover design. A crossover design. In this crossover design, the subject are exposed to more than one treatment, was subject are randomly assigned to different order of treatment. It is also known as repeat measures design, and in this design is more efficient in establishing the highest possible similarity among the subject exposed to different conditions, where group compared obviously have an equal distribution of characteristics. Through crossover design is considered as an extremely powerful research design. Sometimes it is not effective because when the subject are exposed to 2 different conditions, their responses to the second condition may be influenced by their experience in the first condition. We'll see this example when we are comparing the effectiveness of chlorhexidine mouth care protocol on group 1 and saline mouth care protocol on the group subject 2. Later the treatment is swapped where the group 1 receives the saline mouth care and group 2 receives the chlorhexidine. In this kind of study, subjects serve as their own control and group protocols of the mouth care group 1 chlorhexidine, that is alpha 1, and saline, that is alpha 2, and group 2 saline, that is alpha 2, and chlorhexidine alpha 1. Next we'll see the advantages of true experimental design. It is the most powerful design to establish the causal relationship between the independent and dependent variable. Since the study is conducted under controlled environment, it can yield a greater degree of purity in observation. Conditions that are not found in natural setting can be created in experimental settings too in a short period of time that maybe take years in naturally occur. Therefore, it is very useful in generic studies because the experiment is carried out in experimental setting. The problem of real life situations and the personal problem of the researcher can be eliminated at the earliest and can be eliminated. Next is the disadvantages of true experimental design. Most often, the result of experimental design cannot be replicated in studies conducted on human due to ethical problems. Many of the human variables neither have a valid measurable criteria nor the instrument to measure them. In experimental studies conducted in natural settings like hospital or community, it is not possible to impose control over extraneous variable. Experiments are often more impractical when the effect of independent variable may require a lengthy period of time before it can emerge as a response on the criterion measures. It is very difficult to obtain the permission from the participants because the size of the sample is kept small, especially studies involving human. The representatives of the findings of such study is questionable. Though theoretically experimental design can yield a greater insight, yet practically many of times they are not possible in human studies as human and their parameters are complex in nature. So this is all about true experimental design. Hope you all understood. Thank you so much.